Welcome to Education Today. I'm Kiara Bacchetti.
And I'm Katie Powell of Armstrong High School in the Armstrong School District. As you may know, we like to try and highlight different organizations that are important parts of our community. Giving different organizations the ability to showcase and bring to light what they do allows them to get information out to some people may not know.
Tonight we want to bring in a humanitarian type organization to tell us about their community and what they do. Animals and their treatment has become more and more publicized over the last few years. New and different laws are now in place in regards to owning and treatment of a pet. All too often you may see a pet simply wandering the streets all alone. Something that we've seen a lot recently is people simply dumping or leaving their pets behind, leaving them cold, sad, and confused. Tonight we are going to speak with an organization that gives these pets a place to go. Welcome to Education Today. Would you please introduce yourselves and where you work?
My name's Brian Galbraith, and I work at Orphans of the Storm. This is Lori. She is a Golden Retriever Collie Chow Mix. She's 2.5 years old. She was a owner surrender. They just couldn't keep her anymore, so they brought her to us. So she's looking for her forever home.
What is your role at Orphans of the Storm?
I am a kennel worker, and I also do the off-sites with taking the pets to PetSmart, schools, things like that.
Why did you decide to become involved at Orphans of the Storm?
Oh, because I love the animals, and everybody needs to help out in the community with the animals, so that's what I started as a volunteer when I was a teenager.
Could you tell us more about your organization, what you do there?
Orphans of the Storm started in 1969. Actually, my mother-in-law started it. Before that time, there was no place to take your unwanted animal if you couldn't keep it anymore or a stray. So the police would just pick up the animal, and sometimes they would dispose of the animals. So she chose to start a shelter, which started, actually she had horses, so she started it in her stable.
All right. About how many animals do you currently have in the shelter, and are all of them available for adoption?
Currently we have about 60 dogs. That includes puppies, grown dogs. We also have fosters that foster puppies, kittens, and cats. Cats we usually have around 100 at any given time, and of course spring's here, so kitten season has started, so we'll be getting more in with that.
Okay. I see you brought a few friends with you here today. What can you tell us about these guys?
Well, this is Lori. She is a Golden Retriever Collie Chow Mix. She's 2.5. Her owners couldn't take care of her any longer, so they brought her to us. So she's looking for her forever home.
What is Lori like exactly? Like, what's her personality?
She is very calm. She likes kids. She's housebroken. As you can see, she likes to sit on your lap. She likes to play with toys.
She's super cute.
She is cute.
So when animals are advertised for adoption, sometimes you'll see information does only best in an adult home. How do you make those determinations, and what other characteristics do you identify?
Well, sometimes if it is an owner surrender, we know the history of the animal. They tell us if they're good with children or not. Some dogs are better with teenage children. Some dogs come in and we're great with smaller children. If they come in as a stray, we work with them to see what kind of personalities they have, things like that.
Is there an average time that an animal is generally under your care?
We keep the animals until they're placed. There's no given time. Of course, puppies are adopted quite quickly. Everybody loves puppies. And the adult dogs, sometimes we have a little longer, but they are there until they are placed.
So what is the longest tenured pets you have?
We just adopted a senior dog, which he was about 11 or 12 years old. He was there a couple years. It is harder to adopt older dogs because most people want them, around for a long period of time. An older dog, say 12 years old, may only have a year or two left, or may have 5 or 6 years, depending on the dog. We do have some people that do come in that are looking just for older dogs, just to give them their unhappy, life for the, what's left of their life. So, it just depends on the animal.
How can people contact you about information on adopting an animal?
You can call us. Our phone number is 724-548-4520, or you can go on petfinders.com. We're on there also. We also have a website, orphansofthestorm@hotmail.com is the email address also. So that's pretty much how you can contact us.
When people come into the shelter, how does the process generally work?
Usually they come in, we ask them if there's a specific animal they're looking for. Usually people see them on the internet, or Leader Times puts pictures in for us, and then we'll go and meet the animal. We'll take them into the room that we meet them in. They get to spend time with the animal. We get to ask them questions, and then if they decide they would like the pet, they have to fill out a pre-adoption form, which has on if you own your house, rent your house, does your landlord allow an animal, vet references, if you own any other pets, and then the board of directors go over it. It usually takes about 2 to 3 working days, and if they're approved, then the animal is set up to go home. But the animal has to be spayed or neutered before it leaves. So that has to be done before they go home also.
Is there a cost associated with adoption? If so, what should someone expect those fees to be?
Normally, there is a cost. The animals are spayed and neutered. They're vet checked. So all that is a cost. Normally, puppies and adult dogs are usually around $185, and that includes them being spayed and neutered, vet checked, an average microchip, 1 month free of advantages on them. Their license comes with that. Also, cats and kittens. Kittens are usually $75. Grown cats are usually $85.
Is there any way of identifying if the pet and family are well suited for another?
Yes, we do ask lots of questions when they're viewing the animal. Just different situations with different animals, of course. If the people own another dog, we ask them to bring them in so they can meet each other, which the animals don't have to love each other, but they do have to get along, Sometimes someone will bring in a dog and it just, hates the other dog, and then we would, deny them that animal. But we would try to get them, suited up with another animal that maybe their dog would get along with.
How do you determine if a pet is going home with someone, and is it the shelter's decision?
It is a shelter's decision on the animal. We are there for the best possible home for the animal. We are not there to make the person make them happy. We're there to make sure it is a suitable home for the animal. Most of these animals have come back from bad situations. We certainly do not want to put them back into another bad situation. So everybody is screened. Occasionally we do have someone do a home visit. That they'll go into the home and see if it's suitable for that particular animal that they want. And then it's strictly up to the board of directors and the manager to decide if the animal is suitable for that home, and then they'll go home.
Is there any sort of follow-up after the adoption?
There is a follow-up. We usually have a volunteer, usually in a week's time we'll call and see how the animal is doing, if it's doing okay, if there's any help that we can give the person if they're having a little bit of difficulty with a dog or a cat. give suggestions what to do, to try to get them through that. And then if it is a situation that isn't going to work out, they have to return the animal to the shelter.
So what is the adoption process like? Is there a waiting period?
There is a waiting period. It's usually 3 to 4 days. Normally puppies and some of our adult dogs, we do get them spayed and neutered before they're up for adoption. That way it does speed it up a little bit. But if the animal is not spayed or neutered before that, it can take up to a week for you to get that animal.
Are there guidelines to adopting one of the animals?
There are guidelines, and it goes back to, if you're suited for that animal, and definitely if you rent and we have to get a hold of your landlord, and if the landlord doesn't approve of that animal, then of course you're denied for that animal. We do vet checks, which they call your local vet that you have, make sure that all your pets that you have are up to date on their shots. If they're not up to date on their shots, we want to know the reason why. Usually, if you take your pets and then get them, their shots, if they are due, we can still follow through with the adoption. If not, then you would be denied.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with the Armstrong School District's Education Today. Stick around.
Success. We see it every day. Hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes, internationally known faculty who are committed to your success. Real-world experiences to guide you on your career and life path. An alumni network 120,000 strong. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll. Visit us. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
I'm Indiana County Sheriff Bob Fyhawk. We are all proud of Indiana County, but we must be worried about the negative growth of drugs and alcohol abuse. It is the responsibility of all of us, parents, teachers, and community leaders, to provide the best possible education to our youth in the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse. The law is a deterrent, but education is still our best protection. Help keep Indiana safe and drug-free. For more information on how to talk to your kids about drugs and alcohol, go to the abovetheinfluence.com, brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere, programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We are talking about the Orphans of the Storm Animal Shelter in Katanning, Pennsylvania. We are joined by Brian Galbraith and his furry friend Lori here today. Let's talk a little more about the shelter itself. Is it a non-kill shelter?
It is a no-kill shelter. We have been for probably the last 20 years, been a no-kill shelter. That means we keep all the animals that are adoptable. A no-kill shelter actually does not mean 100% because if a dog comes in badly injured or whatever, we do take them to the veterinarian to see what can be done for the animal. But in some sad cases, the animal would have to be put down due to the injuries to the animal. So we are humane. We would not keep an animal that would be suffering or anything like that.
So you just kind of gave a little description of what you do if they might be badly hurt, but what happens if they're just sick or hurt?
We do take them to the vets. We work with 5 or 6 different vets in the area. We also work with PVS in Pittsburgh, which is a specialist veterinarian service from down there. We just did have a Rottweiler puppy that came in with birth defects in his eyes. We took him down there. They did cataract surgery on him. We had to raise money for that. It's very pricey down there. His surgery was nearly $5,000, but he had some really bad birth defects plus the cataracts. So he's still going through the process. He did have the surgery, but it still doesn't look real good for him. He probably will lose his sight as he gets a little older. So we do have that going on.
What happens if you become like over capacity to take in more animals?
We usually always are at the limit. We are always full. We can refuse to take an animal from somebody and ask them to hold on to the animal, another week or so till we get somebody adopted. But our shelter is nearly always full to its limit.
So that kind of answers my question of the current status of the shelters in terms of capacity.
We are at this point today, we are overflowing at the moment, yes.
Oh. How is the shelter funded?
We're funded through donations. That's how we survive. People donate material things, dog food, cat litter, of course money. Money helps us a lot, but that's how we run, is on donations.
So, do you accept volunteers to work or help out the shelter? If so, what do you typically have them do?
We do ask for volunteers. We're always in need of volunteers. You must be 16 years of age to volunteer. What we ask them to do, if most volunteers either like the cats or like the dogs. If you like dogs, you can do dog walking. We do training once a month. You go to the Katanning Library and go through a training, and then you come to the shelter, and a couple of our senior volunteers will train you how to walk the dogs, where to walk the dogs. You can brush the dogs. You can socialize the puppies. Cat people usually are just cat people. They come in, they can brush the cats, socialize with the cats. That's normally what our volunteers do.
Say if somebody can't adopt an animal but would still like to help, what would they do?
They could come in and volunteer. They, like I said, could work with the dogs or cats. Sometimes that's just enough for the person, if you can't have an animal where you live, just come in, sit and talk to the dogs, sit and talk with the cats. There's lots of things that you could do.
Are there currently things that the shelter could use or need?
We always need puppy chow. We use Purina puppy chow. We always need cat litter. We use non-clumping clay litter, not the expensive stuff. We change our litter every day, so there's no use of buying some fancy, expensive stuff. And we can use newspapers. We're really low on newspapers right now, which we use for bedding for the puppies. We go through a lot of newspaper. You can actually unroll the newspaper before you bring them if you would like, and make them a big a flat sheet. That way the workers don't have to use their time to do that. We can use laundry detergent, dish detergent, bleach. We can use about anything, really. We don't turn nothing away.
Is there anything else you would like to add for the benefit of our viewers?
I just would like to say that Orphan Storms is a great place to come and to adopt an animal if you're looking for an animal. We adopt out close to 1,000 animals a year. We are a small shelter, a small county shelter. We are looking to build a new shelter. If it rains really, really hard, we flood and have to move all of our animals out of the shelter, which has happened last year once. It's not a fun thing to do. So we have been raising money to build a new shelter and move to higher ground. If anybody would want to donate land, we would greatly appreciate it. And any kind of a donation, money-wise, is never too small. We'll take, even if you can only afford $1, hey, it adds up, We are a great shelter. We love our animals. We're not a pretty shelter. It is an old building, but we take excellent care of our animals and place them in correct homes that they should be in.
Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Brian Galbraith, and the Orphans of the Storm Animal Shelter in Katanning, and his friend Lori, a current tenant and up for adoption at the shelter, for joining us today. Our thanks go out to the TV production students of Armstrong High School, led by their teacher, Mr. Josh Miklos. They were our film crew today.
Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district and have a great week.